Picture the unthinkable. A young boy, Stephen Colbert, faces the crushing loss of his father and two brothers in a tragic accident. This catastrophic event didn't just challenge him, it molded him into a figure whose humor and persistence resonate across America. The tragedy of Stephen Colbert is beyond heartbreaking, reveals how personal grief became the foundation for his journey to become a cherished icon of comedy. Stephen Colbert's journey from a large, vibrant family to a national treasure is as moving as it is inspiring. Born on May 13, 1964 in Washington, D.C., and later raised in Maryland and South Carolina, Colbert's upbringing was steeped in both academia and warmth. His father, James William Colbert Jr., was an esteemed doctor and academic who brought the family to South Carolina when he took a prestigious position at the Medical University of South Carolina. Growing up as the youngest of 11 children, Stephen's early life was filled with the typical hustle and bustle that comes with a large family. His siblings, James III, Edward, Mary, William, Margot, Thomas, Jay, Elizabeth, Paul, and Peter, each added their unique flavor to the family dynamics, creating a rich tapestry of personalities that influenced him deeply. The Colbert home was a hub of intellectual stimulation and Catholic faith, where discussions ranged from literature to theology, shaping Stephen's complex worldview from a young age. In South Carolina, the Colberts settled just outside Charleston, a city rich in history and culture. Here, Stephen's formative years were marked by a spirited and closely knit family life. The children attended local schools where Stephen was known for his sharp wit and humor, often bringing smiles to classrooms and playgrounds alike. Even with the lively family interactions, there was a strong emphasis on education and moral values instilled by both of his parents. Stephen's mother, Lorna, was a homemaker who managed the large household with a gentle but firm hand, ensuring that each child was given attention and care. The values of kindness, respect, and intellectual curiosity were cornerstones of their upbringing. This ideal childhood, however, was not to last. Tragedy struck on September 11, 1974, when Stephen was just 10 years old. His father and two of his brothers, Paul and Peter, boarded Eastern Airlines Flight 212 from Charleston to Charlotte, a routine flight that ended in catastrophe. The plane crashed just short of the runway, engulfed in fog, taking the lives of 72 passengers, including those of his family members. The loss of his father and brothers was a pivotal moment for Stephen, one that fragmented his childhood into a before and after. The Colbert home transformed from a place of laughter and debates to one of silence and mourning. Stephen found himself sailing through a world vastly altered by absence and grief, his mother's patience serving as a beacon through their shared sorrow. But how did a cheerful childhood collide with unexpected tragedy? September 11th, 1974 began like any other day for many, but for the Colbert family it marked a profound and tragic turning point. Stephen Colbert's father, Dr. James Colbert, and his two brothers, Paul and Peter, were aboard Eastern Airlines Flight 212, a routine flight from Charleston to Charlotte. Little did they know, this short journey would end in catastrophe. The aircraft, a Douglas DC-9, was navigating a standard approach towards Douglas Municipal Airport under what appeared to be typical conditions. However, as the plane descended, a critical error occurred. Destroyed by heavy fog, the cockpit crew lost track of their altitude, a mistake compounded by a lapse in cockpit discipline. The pilots, it was later found, were not fully adhering to the prescribed landing procedures, which required strict attention to the aircraft's instruments, especially in poor visibility conditions. At approximately 7:34 a.m., just 3 miles shy of the runway, the plane descended too quickly, crashing into a hillside strewn with cornfields. The impact was devastating. The aircraft was torn apart, its wreckage scattered across the damp soil, a stark and harrowing scene that first responders would not soon forget. Of the 82 souls on board, 72 perished, including Colbert's father and brothers. The National Transportation Safety Board would later cite the flight crew's lack of altitude awareness and poor cockpit discipline as primary factors in the tragedy. This horrific event sent shockwaves through the aviation community and across the nation, but nowhere was the impact more deeply felt than within the Colbert family's home. The loss of a father and two sons left an indelible mark on their hearts and lives. In the end result, the tight-knit community around the Colberts rallied to support them, but the void left by their loss was vast and profound. Young Stephen, only 10 at the time, faced the unimaginable task of coming to terms with the absence of his beloved family members. The once vibrant and noisy corridors of the Colbert household grew quiet, the laughter and lively debates replaced by a somber stillness. This disaster left a young boy in a silence that spoke volumes. What comes next in Stephen's life? The tragic plane crash that claimed the lives of Stephen Colbert's father and two brothers left a profound impact on him, both immediately and for years to come. At the tender age of 10, the sudden loss thrust young Stephen into an overwhelming reality of grief and confusion, marking a significant turning point in his life. In the immediate aftermath, the once boisterous and cheerful Colbert home turned into a quiet sanctuary of mourning. Stephen's mother, faced with the unimaginable task of holding the family together, became a pillar of strength, yet her profound sadness was palpable. For Stephen, the effect was deep and disorienting. His childhood was abruptly segmented into before and after, with the line of demarcation being the day of the crash. Memories before the tragedy took on a ghostly hue as he struggled to reconcile the vibrancy of his early years with the sudden void that followed. Psychologically, the impact was complex. Colbert has spoken candidly about the big break in the cable of his memory after their deaths. His formative years were overshadowed by this personal disaster, leading to a childhood characterized by introspection and solitude. Unlike his peers, whose concerns were light and typical of young adolescents, Stephen's thoughts were perennially clouded by loss. This period of grief and reflection, however, gradually began to forge within him an unusual depth of character. The absence of his father and brothers became a silent force, molding his perspectives and interactions. Colbert's inherent wit and humor, which had delighted his family and friends, took on a new role. It became a coping mechanism, a way to connect with others and to keep the memory of his lost loved ones alive. As he navigated through his teenage years, Stephen's strength began to show. Despite his academic struggles, which he later attributed to his lack of interest in conventional studies post-tragedy, he found solace in literature and performance. These interests, initially escapism, slowly shifted into a passionate pursuit. The empathy and depth Colbert developed in response to his tragedy began to inform his humor, giving it a unique blend of poignancy and levity. Now let's see how Stephen began to convert his pain into something unexpected. In the shadow of tragedy, Stephen Colbert found refuge in the worlds of sci-fi and fantasy, domains where the impossible seemed possible and the boundaries of reality stretched beyond the ordinary. These genres offered a young Colbert not just an escape from his grief, but a playground for his imagination and a foundation for his eventual journey into comedy. During his high school years, Colbert's affinity for science fiction and fantasy grew intensely. He became an avid reader of books like J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, and a dedicated player of Dungeons and Dragons. These hobbies were more than mere pastimes, they were lifelines, allowing him to process the grief through narratives of heroism and adventure. The characters in these stories faced overwhelming odds and yet often triumphed, reflecting to him a sense of control and potential victory over his adversities. As Colbert transitioned into college, his initial indifference to academic pursuits began to wane as he discovered the power of performance. It was at Northwestern University where he truly embraced the world of theater and improvisation. This pivot to performing arts marked a crucial shift in Colbert's coping mechanisms. What began as escapism through sci-fi and fantasy morphed into a therapeutic outlet through acting. On stage, he could explore various facets of human emotion and experience, including his own, within the safety of fictional narratives. The improvisational stage, particularly his time at the Second City in Chicago, was transformative. Improv required Colbert to be present at the moment, an act that is both liberating and healing. He learned to channel his emotions into his performances, turning personal pain into comedic material. This period was not just about learning the crafts of timing and delivery, it was about understanding the impact of shared laughter and communal healing. Stephen's transition into comedy came naturally. His sharp intellect and quick wit, combined with his deep emotional reservoir, allowed him to connect with audiences in a unique and meaningful way. Comedy became his way of reconciling with the world, a world that had once seemed so cruelly indifferent to his suffering. But could making others laugh truly mend a shattered heart? The journey gets even more inspiring next. Challenges and key changes mark the academic journey, reflecting a young man grappling with personal loss. While seeking his path, initially his academic performance was lackluster, grappling with the tragedy that struck his family. Colbert struggled to find meaning in traditional educational pursuits during high school. Regardless of these struggles, Colbert's intellectual curiosity and his evolving passion for performance drew him to Northwestern University, where he would major in philosophy and theater. Northwestern provided a new environment and a fresh start, an opportunity that Stephen embraced wholeheartedly. His studies in philosophy helped him explore profound questions about existence and suffering, themes deeply personal to him. Meanwhile, theater classes allowed him to step into different characters and stories, offering both an escape and a way to confront his emotions. It was at Northwestern that Colbert truly began to shine. He immersed himself in the university's rich theatrical scene, participating in various productions and honing his acting skills. This period was crucial in shaping his perspective on performance, not just as entertainment, but as a form of expression and connection with others. His talent and dedication did not go unnoticed, and soon, he was drawn to the experimental and collaborative world of improvisational comedy. After college, Colbert took a significant step by joining the Second City, an improvisational theater troupe in Chicago. It was here that Colbert's comedic persona began to take shape. At Second City, he was not just a student, but a creator, crafting sketches that blended humor with sharp social commentary. His talent to think quickly on his feet and his penchant for satire became his trademark. During these early years, Colbert also met fellow comedians like Amy Sedaris and Paul Dinello, with whom he would later collaborate on projects that further defined his comedic style. These collaborations were instrumental in transitioning him from stage performances to television, setting the stage for his future in broadcast comedy. As Stephen's career starts to bud, a major decision looms. Let's find out how a pivotal move would launch him into stardom. A monumental jump in his comedic career occurred when he joined The Daily Show in 1997. Under the leadership of Jon Stewart, the show was carving a new path in political satire, and Colbert, with his sharp wit and keen intellect, quickly became a standout member of the ensemble. His role as a correspondent allowed him to hone a faux serious newsman persona, which not only played off his strengths in satire, but also resonated strongly with viewers. At The Daily Show, Colbert's segments were marked by a mix of absurdity and sharp commentary, skillfully blurring the lines between reality and satire. His potential to maintain a straight face endeared him to a growing fan base and established him as a master of irony. This period was crucial as it not only elevated his profile but also deepened his understanding of the impact and mechanics of satire in shaping public discourse. The success and recognition he gained on The Daily Show set the stage for what would be his next breakthrough, The Colbert Report. Launched in 2005, this show was a spin-off that parodied the style of the pundit-led political talk shows. Here, Colbert changed into a caricature of conservative commentators, a persona so convincingly executed that it both lampooned and illuminated the absurdities of political media. The Colbert Report quickly garnered both critical acclaim and a devoted viewership, distinguishing itself with its intelligent humor and its host's charismatic delivery. The format of the Colbert Report allowed Colbert to push boundaries further, creating a space where comedy intersected with real-world issues in a manner that was both educational and entertaining. Through this show, Colbert's unique style of satire became a significant cultural force, influencing how audiences perceived news and truth. His interviews, often with high-profile figures, were particularly notable for their blend of humor and unexpected depth, revealing the layers of his comedic talent and intellectual depth. Throughout his tenure on both shows, Colbert's influence grew, making him not just a comedian, but a respected voice in cultural and political discussions. His work on these shows not only entertained, but sparked dialogue and reflection among viewers, cementing his status as a pioneer in modern satire. Ever wonder what it's like behind the scenes of a comedy revolution? Let's discuss that. Early experiences of loss profoundly shaped his comedic philosophy and public persona. The tragedies of his youth deeply influenced his approach to comedy and public engagement, infusing his performances with a rare blend of humor and humanity. Colbert's philosophy is rooted in a mix of resilience and empathy, qualities that were cultivated through the hardships he endured. He knows how to connect with audiences on a meaningful level. This connection is not just about making people laugh, it's about making them think and feel, providing a space where humor serves as both a bridge and a balm. In his public persona, Colbert often blends satire with sincerity. While he is known for his biting political satire, he also opens up about his personal life and beliefs in ways that many comedians shy away from. This openness has allowed him to forge a unique connection with his audience. He discusses serious topics such as faith, tragedy, and love with a candidness that resonates with many who have faced their trials. Moreover, Colbert's ability to use his platform to discuss personal and often painful topics in a thoughtful and often humorous way has defined what it means to be a public figure in comedy. He challenges his viewers to consider their perspectives on the world, encouraging a dialogue that goes beyond the surface laughs. His comedic philosophy also extends to how he views the role of comedy in society. For Colbert, comedy is not just entertainment. It is a vehicle for change and understanding. It's a tool for shedding light on the uncomfortable or overlooked aspects of life and politics. Through his nuanced approach, he encourages his viewers to confront complex issues with both humor and critical thought. How does a man use his darkest moments to light up America's nights? The answer might surprise you. Hosting The Late Show has solidified his status as a stalwart in both comedy and the broader media landscape. Taking over the show in 2015, Colbert brought with him his comedic talent and a distinct approach combining deep insight, political satire, and heartfelt sincerity. His influence extends beyond mere entertainment, shaping how audience perceives current events through a lens that is both critical and humorous. On The Late Show, Colbert has seemingly transitioned from his character-driven work on The Colbert Report to presenting his true self, albeit with the same sharp wit and incisive humor. This shift has allowed him to tackle a broader range of topics, from politics to social issues, with a personal touch that resonates with a wide audience. His interviews often go viral not just for their humor, but for their skill to cut to the heart of complex matters, reflecting his deep understanding of the human condition and the current state of the world. Colbert's role on The Late Show has also highlighted his strength to adapt and respond to the changing media landscape. His show has become a crucial part of late-night television, known for its timely and thoughtful commentary on pressing issues. This adaptability has kept him relevant in an era where media consumption is rapidly evolving. Furthermore, Colbert's influence is notable in how he uses his platform for advocacy and philanthropy. He has been open about his beliefs, and he has used his show as a conduit for change, promoting various causes and encouraging his viewers to engage with their community and the political process. His ongoing work continues to be informed by his personal history, and this depth adds a layer of authenticity to his comedic persona. Stephen Colbert's journey from facing profound personal tragedies to becoming one of America's most beloved comedians shows his strength and impact. His capability to shift pain into laughter and insight not only entertains, but also inspires and connects with people on a deep level. If you're inspired by how Stephen turned the profound loss into a beacon of joy, consider subscribing for more interesting stories like this.